Hi, I'm YL Wolf, or Y for short, and I want to talk about money today. Money as a single woman, work as a single woman, navigating a rapidly changing tech world as a single woman. Let's get into it. There's a lot that I could say about this subject, and one day I would like to do a deeper dive on this, but today I want to focus on a couple of points. So let's start in 2021. I was a couple years into my freelancing career. This was a time that was very scary, but also very exciting. I was making it on my own as a writer for the first time in my life, which is a dream come true. When it comes to ambition, my ambition has always been around the markers of accomplishment. For instance, I've always wanted to win a Pulitzer Prize. My ambition for that kind of thing is sky high. I've never had financial ambition, particularly as it pertains to my writing. And I don't know if that's the realist in me or if I just have an upper limit problem. I don't know. So when I got into this field and I was able to pay my bills, even though it was just barely, even though I still do not have a retirement account to this day, and I'm going to be 50 next year, I was incredibly proud of myself because it is so hard, as anyone knows, to make it as a writer in this world. At the time, I had multiple streams of income. I was working as an editor for private clients, and I was also a subcontractor for a big corporation that had a lot of clients in real estate. So I would write the copy for those clients' websites as well as keeping their blog posts up to date in order to bring in traffic. In 2021, when I was 45 years old, and again, a few years into my freelancing career, I was unceremoniously let go by the corporation. And the interesting thing is that I didn't even receive a notice from them. I received no word from them. Usually they would send me a packet of assignments at the beginning of a month, and 1 month they didn't send it. I received an email from my point person at the corporation, the person that I worked for, the person that was basically my overseer, and he very kindly told me what had happened, that the corporation had laid off all of its freelance writers, again, without notice. Because we were subcontractors, they had no legal obligation to tell us that they were no longer going to use our services anymore. And he was very upset by the way that they went about that and, not telling us what was going on. And further, he also indicated to me that he thought that it was incredibly unfair for someone of my caliber to have been treated in that way. And it seemed like he had some misgivings about the direction that they were going in. And he actually ultimately left that company about a month later. So there I was, all of a sudden, in one moment, not even a day, but a moment, an entire branch of my industry went extinct. And it really did happen that fast. So many freelancers that I know were suddenly out of work because corporations or even private clients were using AI to write copy for websites, newsletters, blogs, etc. And soon after that, my editing jobs also dried up because, again, people were using AI to edit their work. They no longer needed us. It's such an interesting thing to navigate as a single woman. And it doesn't matter if you are in a traditional job or not. We do not have a safety net. We do not have anything or anyone to fall back on. We do not have a second income from a partner to rely upon. When the floor drops out from underneath us, there is nothing preventing us from falling. And we are living in that reality every single day. And the floor does drop out. So over the next couple of years, I continued to seek out other jobs, other opportunities in the writing industry. Sometimes I had a little bite here and there, but for the most part, I had to rely on one source of income. I'm very fortunate that I live in a small house with an equally small mortgage, and I am an extremely frugal person. It's not difficult for me to tighten the purse strings, so to speak. And that's not necessarily a good thing, to be honest. I think it keeps my expectations low. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've never made a lot of money. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm almost 50 and I've never experienced anything that could be defined in this culture as actual financial success. But that's another story for another day. So then comes 2024, and I feel very fortunate that I was in the place that I was in at the time. Even though I basically only had one stream of income, it was steady, it was reliable. The fact that my earnings were so consistent, I was extremely lucky. And I say that not just because I would have been lucky in any circumstance, but because my father was in hospice for the first 6 months of 2024. And then he passed away in the summer. And obviously that meant the second 6 months of the year, there was a lot to do. There was grief. There were just a lot of things going on in my life. So to have been able to enjoy the most consistent year that I have ever had, financially speaking, in freelancing, was a huge blessing that I will never, ever not be grateful for. I also really want to recognize myself for understanding that I was in a dangerous place, having one stream of income today. And I think this is true for everyone, but especially single women. And I don't care what industry you are in. I don't care what job you have. I think we are all in a world now where having one traditional job, even if it's the safest thing you can imagine, it's not anymore. We can see that right now. Look at the news, at all of the layoffs that are happening and all of these steady, safe jobs. There's no such thing anymore. And I think it's so important as single women that we have multiple streams of income. I have known that for a long time. I have been trying to keep my sights on creating more over the past few years, but of course it's been hard. It's just been hard with everything that I was going through with my dad. It's interesting to me that as soon as he passed away, so much of my energy immediately shifted into work mode. It's like I regained all of this focus and I don't know that I would say energy per se, but whatever energy I was giving to him was able to be directed toward work again. And everything about that was this drive to create another stream of income. I set my sights here, partly because I am struggling with social media right now. I don't know that I want to be on social media. I felt this way back then, and I feel it even more strongly today for reasons that I am afraid to talk about here. I know that talking about certain subjects here will not help me, let's put it that way. And there is a part of me that kind of missed doing face-to-face, so to speak, kind of content. I do enjoy that to some extent. Thought it would be a good way to supplement my income. And I have seen so many people talk about how they were able to monetize a channel within 10 weeks. And I thought, okay, that sounds reasonable. In the aftermath of everything that has happened, I can create some content. I'm going out and paddle boarding. I'm doing all these exciting things. And I want to encourage single women to make the second act of their life the best that it could be. And I'm ready. Let's do this. 10 weeks, boom, let's go. And here we are 7 months later. And I am nowhere near monetization. Nowhere near it. I think I have 80 more subscribers to reach before I hit that metric, but I don't even have 1/3 of the amount of views that I need to get to in order to have the final metric met. Not even 1/3. Based on the rate at which I am growing right now, I will never reach monetization. There's going to have to come a point where I make a decision about what to do and whether or not to move forward. So that is why I really wanted to talk about being a single woman and navigating these spaces, navigating tech spaces, navigating platforms. And these are all bigger subjects to talk about more in depth in other videos, of course, but just in general, This is definitely something that I am feeling a lot of confusion around. And to be honest, I'm feeling a lot of resistance to it. As a single woman trying to create her own work, her own business, her own destiny, I really struggle with following the rules that are set out for us today. There are a lot of things that I want to do with my career. And I feel like all of those things, which once were within my grasp 20, 30 years ago, today are no longer, because today we are playing by a set of rules that were created by very wealthy men who own the places and spaces in which we connect and create. Today, if you want to get a publishing contract, you will not be able to do so unless you have at least, I think, 50,000 Instagram followers. When I started writing, you could get a publishing contract if you were A, lucky, and B, skilled. Today, none of that matters. You just have to have a following. And as I mentioned, I don't want to be on certain platforms anymore. I do not want to be beholden to certain platforms, and I do not want my worth and value as a writer to be defined by what platforms allow me to disseminate information to others and how many others. So right now I'm considering my options, particularly in this space. I'm going to try to do a little bit more single middle-aged content, even though I realize that is not nearly niched enough as what people are suggesting it should be. So I might not be talking about clothes, art, creativity, writing, home improvements, etc. on this channel for the time being. I don't know. I might even create a second channel because I wonder if this one is already too confusing for the algorithm to send to the right people. It might already be too late for that. So I might just create another one that's only about single, childless, middle-aged creativity, maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's also not niched enough. It would probably need to be only about single, childless, middle-aged knitting, or single, childless, middle-aged writing, or I don't know. I feel very overwhelmed by it all, because if this is true, this hyper niching for this platform is true, then first of all, I don't know how all of these content creators that I follow were able to make it in the first place, because they don't do that. And secondly, I don't know how I would, because like I'd want to talk about all of these things. And so I don't know how I would manage, creating 10 different channels. Like, it just doesn't seem realistic to me. I don't know. As usual, in many ways, I feel like I'm back in 2021 facing this massive change in my industry, which is absolutely the case. Like, we are going through so many changes in the writing industry so quickly, and like exponentially quickly. They are just getting faster and faster as we go. And it is very difficult to keep up. And as I said, like as a single woman, this is really hard to navigate. I don't have a safety net. I don't even have anyone to talk to here in my home who knows my situation inside and out, who could give me advice or emotional support or anything like that. I am very lucky. I have writer friends who are going through similar things, and they lift me up and support me. But it's a different thing than having someone right here in your home to lean on. I definitely feel an urgency building in society. I feel things are changing very rapidly, and it's hard. I feel like it's harder and harder to navigate the changes of the world and the workforce as a single woman. Everything comes down to me, and what am I gonna do? Somehow I have to be both my best supporter and also the CEO who can just pivot and deal with everything. And those are two strikingly different roles. I don't know if I should end this by saying I'm confident that I'll find my way, because I'm not sure that I am. I do like to remind myself that I've made it this far. I've made it almost 6 years, and I've been able to pay my bills. I've been able to succeed at this, but this is the biggest hit that I've ever taken, and things are not changing, and I don't know what to expect other than that there's probably going to be more of this, not less. I just figured out how I want to end this. I want to end this by quoting Louisa May Alcott. Because even though it is hard to be single and hard to navigate the workforce as a single woman, hard to navigate tech spaces as a single woman, hard to make your own way as a single woman, I would not have it any other way. As Louisa May Alcott said, I'd rather be a free spinster and paddle my own canoe. And that's exactly how I feel about my love life and about my work life. I'd love to hear your experiences as a single woman in the workforce, whatever job you are in, whatever industry you are in. And I'd particularly love to hear from other writers, content creators, artists, etc., on how you have made it on your own. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.